I believe in the Constitution. I believe that one case, the right case, can change the world. If you believe this too, Freedom Counsel is for you. Pursuing a major case can be overwhelming, but we provide a community of practice so that you have the resources available to support your case. My name is Warner Mendenhall, and we are Freedom Counsel. Join Freedom Counsel today. freedomcounsel.org.
And with Broken Truth, my name is John Davidson, and with me, as always, here he is, the lovely and talented Warner Mendenhall, as well as today we're joined by vaccine-injured advocate and victim, the lovely and talented Kat Parker. Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm here today. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, you know what? We've been running in the same circles for a couple of years now, and we finally got to link up. So I'm sorry it took so long, but I'm glad you're here, and I think it's probably just the perfect time.
I appreciate it. You're busy as ever, so just the moment to be with you is great, and I do appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, Kat, why don't you kind of walk us through your history and your story and how you got kind of injured. I know. Look, I know we could talk about that probably for 5 hours.
Long. Yeah.
But we unfortunately have about an hour with you. So give us the top line if you can.
Well, in 2021, as we all know, there was this COVID going around. And during the time when I was working, I was part of a construction company. So I did as a project manager for a residential and commercial construction company, but I was also a concert photographer and professional photographer. So I was required by my job to get the COVID shot in order to continue to keep working. I didn't really know a lot about it. I did research, asked my doctor about it. There wasn't a lot out there to say, don't take it, this is what's in it. It could harm you. So in 2020, it was April 21, I took J&J, not knowing it was J&J, because when we went, it was a lottery and it said Jensen on the sign. Didn't know anything that Jensen was J&J. So it was April 21. And then I got laid off a couple of months later, got another job. That job required me to take the booster to travel. So here comes November of 21. And then I had Pfizer. Then all hell broke loose after that. So after J&J, there was this chronic fatigue and insomnia. And I asked my doctor, could it be the shot? And they're like, no, it's your menopause. You're working too hard. You're anemic. There's all these other excuses of what it could have been. And then when Pfizer was taken in November, there was no denying what it was. My hair started falling out. I started falling asleep at my desk. I started falling asleep driving. I was so fatigued that I couldn't function even normally. And then the falling asleep at any time, anywhere, especially driving and sitting at my desk, was abnormal for me. I could stay up all night and, run with the best of people. And I got to a point where my face would just break out in these horrible rashes, or my mood would change completely. Like I'm usually a very happy, go-lucky person who is very optimistic and very hard to bring me down. But now I've got anxiety, depression, and suicidal ideations that I've never had before. Like just this overwhelming kill yourself comes over you. And that's not me. To the point I told my sister to take my gun out of my room.
Wow, that was something that early on I interviewed a family with a little girl who she had those kind of ideations, and it was very unusual. And the hospital system in Virginia that the family kept trying to get treatment at ended up putting the child in a psych ward. She was also having fugue states where she would go feral like an animal. And
I get those angry moments.
No, she wasn't there though, and But it was the strangest interview because she said that, it was like somebody else was driving, and to something to that effect. And that was a very strange thing, but
and we have that
yeah.
same thing across my support group. Is when I ask people, yes. And somebody interviewed the other day and she is a girl who did the Ozempic shot. She's a YouTuber. And she said the same thing. She was having the dread that would come over her. I've never had it before, just never.
Right.
And it's very evil. It feels evil to me, honestly. It really does. It feels very evil.
Yeah, let me ask a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So which of your employers mandated the shot, or did both of them mandate?
Both of them did.
And then did you apply or get any kind of workers' compensation or anything like that?
No. I had the last employer actually fired me for being too sick to work.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have that conversation recorded. But finding an attorney in this state to help you has not been very good. So
yeah, but I mean, I'm astounded that there were not more, in fact, hundreds of thousands of workers' compensation claims filed.
They couldn't find anybody to help.
Yeah.
There was a ton of us that were actually trying to find someone here in the state of Minnesota to help us. You couldn't even get an attorney to call you back. And some of them were actually vaccine injury attorneys. And I would email them, call them, whatever. Nothing.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Well, the vaccine injury attorneys are really tied to the vaccine injury compensation program, which is different than what's available for the COVID shots, which is this, countermeasures injury program, the CICP.
Right. Which I applied for and got denied.
Right. I mean, thousands of people have applied, but only a few handfuls have actually gotten any compensation at all through the CICP. So, I mean, these are things that are important for people to recognize, though, Kat, because, we are absolutely, my belief is that we are going to have to set up a national compensation program that works. I don't think either the VICP for the folks who are stuck in that program or the CICP really pay off and work the way that they should. And VICP has a very limited set of, for the childhood vaccines and whatnot, a very limited set of possible recoveries in terms of what your symptoms are. I know there was one, there was one recently, I think, on autism, but they sort of are classing autism as encephalitis as a vaccine reaction. And that's how they're getting through the VICP court. But,
I've only known one person with encephalitis, and that was after the COVID shot.
Right.
I had a friend with brain shunt malfunction. She has brain cancer and breast cancer after her shot.
Oh, God.
Never knew anybody with encephalitis until her. So that to me is just.
Well, I just think that one of the things that I want to, focus on, especially with the vaccine injured, is what do we have to do next? Because it is going to be up to us to actually shape the world that we are living in. And the world that we're living in right now is completely inadequate to the injury that I'm seeing. So we need to shape it. And, I pray that our current leadership with Bobby Kennedy and Trump and, the other wonderful appointees that we've seen go in, right. I know they know this needs to happen, but we need to make sure that we've got enough public pressure out here to push them to do what I know they need. I know that they know that this needs to happen.
Well, the first thing that needs to start happening is the censorship needs to stop.
Right.
The censorship is literally killing us. We've had people that have tried to get information, tried to get their stories out, and have been censored to a point where these people have killed themselves because they can't get any help. We get people, even one of the attorneys we know, she had her Facebook account suspended.
Yeah. Well, I got kicked off of YouTube a long time ago. So I'm right.
I mean, I've been kicked off of Nextdoor 3 times. I've been, LinkedIn, all of these. I mean, just the constant censorship and not being able to get our stories out. the trolls and attacks and all of these things that happen on a daily basis. People need to be held criminally responsible for what they do.
I want to put a point on this. The censorship hasn't stopped, has it?
No, it has not. No, it actually is ramping up again.
Yeah,
and that's why we're looking to build a platform off of Facebook and all of that. We're actually been talking with Clout Hub about building a platform. But we have to have something away from those social media platforms that have such a control over what happens or what is being said. They allow death and sexual assault and all these things to be played across their platforms, or even X-rated videos. But then when it comes to people talking about, I took a shot and now I'm injured, or I know someone who has died, and Katie barred the door, let's just pull them all down for it. It makes no sense. And that only happens because there's somebody on the other side of the narrative who's puppeting them, telling them to do it. And even Zuckerberg, even though I don't like him, he even admitted that, Fauci and all of them had something to do with that. And we have the proof of it, of course. But enough is enough. I mean, this has been going on forever. This is not anything new. The military is the oldest vaccine injured group in the world. They've been fighting for rights for I don't know how long. I mean, look up operationtruth.net and you'll see Sarah Boyd's group. And they've been fighting for vaccine injured vets and active military, and they fall on deaf ears also. So, I mean, something's got to break at some point in time. I mean, we're already to a point of being breaking. So,
yeah,
we've lost so much. I mean, when I say we have lost so much, we have lost so much.
The censorship thing is probably what initially triggered me in early 2020. When you do that, you're not on the side of good. Don't kid yourself.
No, you're not.
And it's unfortunate that it continues to, we break down walls and then they build new walls, stronger walls, different walls that we didn't see. Like, we found blacklists that have 150,000 different websites that they call misinformation, medical pseudoscience,
GitHub.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And I find that, and it's like, what in the hell is this? We knew it was there, but we didn't really, until you see that someone's curated it and really done an act of hate. Who does that? Who silences victims? Rapists?
Pedophiles, evil people. I worked in law enforcement for years ago, and I thought I knew evil. This is a whole different evil to me, honestly. This really is, because when you're telling people who have they thought they did the right thing, or they were forced to do it in order to keep the jobs and provide for the family, or go see their family, or care for someone who's in their family, when you're forced to take this thing that you don't know anything about, and they don't put the information out there. And then now somebody says, hey, all right, I got this, but now I'm sick. I'm dying, Oh no, you're not. You're a tinfoil hat wearing crazy nuts and conspiracy theorist, and you're absolutely crazy, which I was told by somebody who I loved. What do you do?
Well, you fight back, which is what you do.
Yeah, I try. I try. So, it's Kat, hard. It is hard.
What are some of the programs that you're working on?
Well, Dr. Bain and I had co-founded a Medical Arts Healing Foundation, which is medicalartshealing.org. It's a nonprofit where we help people who can't afford medical care and treatment. So we work on trying to help people with resources, medical treatment. Bless Dr. Bain's heart. He has given so much to people. To his detriment. And so we try our best to find those resources, and like Trudeau's, the homeopathic detox protocol, which is with Jen Dillon, and do any kind of clinical studies that we can within the foundation and his practice. We are working on trying to get funding in to help people who just can't afford treatment, or if they or want to go outside of the state or the country and their insurance don't take care of it, and we know a lot of stuff is not paid for anyway, we try to bring that in order to help these people. And there's so many people that need help. I have about 6,500 in the support group right now, and I can say I've probably only had 2 treatments in the 5 years. And if it wasn't for Dr. Bain, I don't know what I would do. I'd be dead probably. He's just that amazing as far as working hard to help with anything that he can. And of course, he takes the hit himself. And so we try to support him as well any way that is necessarily possible. But we can't do it without volunteers. We can't do it without donations.
I'm curious. I mean, I know that Dr. Bain uses homeopathy, and I am not very familiar with homeopathy. So have the protocols that Dr. Bain has been working on, have they had some effect?
They have. So with the Trudeau's, I had 2 rounds. So I have narcolepsy, which is a rare disease now. I have 5 rare diseases and 47 adverse reactions going at any time. So when I did the Trudeau's, I did not have narcolepsy for 12 days. The second time, 6 days the first time. So the Trudeau's is platelet therapy. So they take the blood out, they spin it in a centrifuge, and they put it back in anywhere from 1 million to 6 million platelets back into your body. So it's like new soldiers coming back in to help the sick soldiers, right? And it has to focus on the part of the body that has to be repaired the most, right? It was amazing, but it's $1,200 a pop. And then I have to travel to go get it done from him. So we have people coming in to do it, and we've had people donate money for the treatments, but not at a rate that we need. Now the homeopathic detox protocol is with Jen Dillon. She is an energy, and forgive me, I can't say exactly what she's, an energy specialist in homeopathic detox. The homeopathic detox protocol, they're in sucrose pellets, so it's energy. And they have helped. There was one girl that's a patient of Dr. Bain's who she's vaccine injured. She was so sick that she could not be touched, no light in her room. She couldn't hear noise, nothing. And she's been on a couple of the detox protocols. I think she was like on a 3rd or 4th one. And she actually was able to go into his office for an appointment. When I say she was sick, she was sick. Like you couldn't touch her. You couldn't speak to her, nothing. She'd have to keep her room dark, keep something over her eyes. And the day she went into his office and was able to do an appointment in person, to us, that's a miracle in itself. So, but I would look up getdetox.us or getdetox.ca, which is the one for Canada. And it'll tell you about the detox protocol and Jen's work. And then it's also listed on Dr. Bain's website, so docintheloop.com.
How did you hook up with Dr. Bain? How did you come to know?
Cece Blakeman introduced us at Former Feds Group. So I'm the National Vaccine Injury Director for Former Feds Group. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to do a lot with them, due with the support group in the foundation. But she introduced me to Dr. Bain. She introduced me to Scott Miller. She's introduced me to a bunch of people, Jamie Shearer, just everybody. And, when I met him, he's just this wonderful ball of energy who is wanting to help people so much. And when I saw that he took some of the hospitals to court to be able to give ivermectin to the patients. And I think there were 5 cases, 3 he won, 2 he lost, 3 he won, they lived, the 2 he lost, they died. So he fights for people. He fights to help people. I can call him at any time, or he'll call me at 2:00 in the morning and want to talk about something. And I just know just his heart is always in the right place. And he's a very capable doctor, very capable.
Yeah. So your group with the Vax Injured, tell me what initiatives you guys have.
So the initiative. So let me start from the beginning. So when I created the group, a couple years ago, I couldn't find any help, none, nowhere, and I was desperate to find some help. So I created a support group called C19 Adverse Reactions and Support Group on Facebook. And within, I think, an hour, there were 4 people on there, and I still remember. It was Adam, Sheila, Donna, and I just forgot the last person that was on there. Unfortunately, Sheila passed away in July to her vaccine injury. But I started that group, and then people just started coming in and sharing their stories and trying to find resources. And we try to be that community of where people, we don't censor them, but I do run a tight ship. I don't allow foolishness in there because I want people to respect each other, but I want people to have open conversations and be able to disagree, right? We want to be able to do that. So we have resources, like we give people media resources for interviews, like with John, or, if you need an attorney with Warner, or if you need, I have this entire document of thousands of resources, like doctors, medical treatments, facilities, organizations, nonprofits, you name it. We give them the resources that they need, whether it's in the area or an area they want to go to. Sometimes we're just a sounding block for people who need to be heard. Some people have no one, nobody. And that,
this has been a really difficult.
It is, because you
war to
look
be
at people suffering who have nobody, no one, and you become that family for them.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine somebody going through life being injured like this and having nobody to turn to. And it tears my heart up, because I know to a certain point that I feel very lonely in my sickness, because people get tired of hearing about it. And it becomes a burden to those around you. And you don't want to be a burden, but you do become a burden.
So what else are you working on, Kat?
Oh God, let's see. Trying to build a new platform on a different platform because of the censorship. So we'd like to be able to get that built, a new website. I've had 2 IT people back on me, so I'm still in the process of trying to get that built, because we need a place for people to be able to go to see all the resources. I want to build an interactive map where people can point, click on something, and all of those resources they need based on keywords will come to them, instead of them having to go to the internet and just search and search and search for hours, which is what people have to do. Some don't have that capacity to do it. Some people are bedridden. I have an attorney who has vertigo 24/7, bless his heart. And he is alone in the home by himself. He has a caregiver that comes in for a few hours, but other than that, his wife, everybody left him, and he has nobody to help him. So we need to be able to help those people who are in such dire need of medical care, or just someone to help them as an advocate. We need to build a platform for that, and people be able to access it in real time. That's important to me.
I would say, Kat, that maybe one way to expand this and grow this movement is that the need for medical advocacy is not new or relegated only to vaccine injured.
It's not.
This just happens to be the latest casualty run over by the car of big medicine.
Yeah.
And if you could expand those services out to, people facing oncologies and oncologists, which, that when you get into oncology, that you're dealing with another, entrenched ecosystem that refuses to acknowledge new things or consider anything homeopathic. They think
the gaslighting we get in our medical community, and we are got amazing medical people in our community, but just the gaslighting alone, when you go to the doctor, and I record every conversation.
Oh yeah,
probably gonna smack me. I record every doctor appointment when I go in.
And when you're in a one state party consent of state, of course. I mean, I'm sure that's what
I don't care if I was in one state or not.
No, I'm sure that's
Sue
what
me,
you meant.
It's like getting blood out of a turnip. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Um,
But the thing about it is the gaslighting, it's criminal. I mean, gaslighting is against the law, is it not, Warner?
Well, no, we get gaslit all the time.
I know, but I'm saying in the medical, my understanding is gaslighting in the medical community is illegal. It's not? Well, that's what I read somewhere.
Well, I mean, you've got to look at very specific examples. What are they doing?
Right.
There have been some studies about what's written in the medical record and how that shapes the treatment that comes later. I mean, one of the simplest things that we saw over and over during COVID was they would mark that the person was unvaccinated if they came in with COVID. And it seemed like that led to protocols that were deadly that people were treated with. And, so we definitely see what you're referring to, which is sort of gaslighting within the medical record itself.
It's terrible. It's in the record itself, but when you're in the conversation with a doctor and you're asking about what's happening with your body and your brain and such, and this doctor is ignoring you, and you're still asking and they're still ignoring you, and you're asking, and by the time you slam your hand down on the table and you're like, you're not going to ignore me, right? But the thing about it is, when you're going in and you need help and you're telling your patients, that's not the vaccine. I'm asking them, are you willing to sign a piece of paper that's saying that yes, 100% it's not. And if you gave me that shot, are you willing to be 100% responsible for all of my medical bills and everything that happens to me from now until eternity? Nobody will sign that.
Right.
Deception coming out of medicine, is new. I mean, sorry, it's not new. It's been around since the first doctor said, there won't be any pain, and followed by screams. But Warner, you had a really interesting soundbite that we clipped out from your presentation at CHD when you were on the panel with Mary Holland and a lot of the other great attorneys in this space. I'd like to play it if you guys don't mind. It's a little bit about how doctors and nurses either mislead you or betray you in your trust. Let me get this going. I just really, it's a powerful case.
Two more suits out there. Willow's case in Akron, Ohio. This family was informed. Her mom was one of my plaintiffs against Smuckers, which mandated. They came into the hospital. They said, no vaccines for this child. None. It's on the medical record, no vaccines. Yet a nurse practitioner gave the child vaccines. She went into seizures that night and she died 8 days later. We are suing over battery, not under, the VICP or anything else. We're suing for battery. And I'm going to tell you, though, already, one of the defendants has been dismissed from the case by the judge. So I think this thing is going to have to go on to appeal to vindicate our right to tell people no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Two more suits out there. Willow's case in Akron.
Did you have another one you were going to play, John? Or yeah, no, that it's just horrific. And the mom lost her job at Smuckers because she wouldn't take the shot. So I mean, these are not Johnny come lately at all to the vaccine battles. She and her husband were adamantly opposed to vaccines. And she was willing to risk her job, and she did lose her job for standing strong. And then, here her baby is born and is victimized by this medical system, which simply doesn't listen. They have these patterns of behavior that they're in. They have protocols that they're following, and anything to deviate from that pattern of behavior is, it causes a disruption in their system, and they remark and they don't like you as a patient from that point on. It's noted in the records, and in this case, they ignore you anyway.
And now we've got this whole thing about political parts in healthcare. And I just sent a text to John where you've got nurses and doctors. They look at what your political stance is and they will let you die on the table. Or if you're a cop or if you're, they call you pedophiles and Nazis and things like that just because of who you vote for.
Yeah.
That's actually really interesting. I didn't know in 2020 when I started trying to advocate for doctors and nurses in hospitals that it was so obviously political for most of them, or many of them, at least the ones that were public facing. And so I was, doing public service announcements, and then I realized some of them were actually colluding with the Biden-Harris campaign in August of 2020, and I was a little shocked to see that they were wanting to do wear a mask campaign, and they were sending our edits to some third party who was reviewing it, and it was surprising to me. I still have not tracked down who was in the background, but apparently there were people linked to the campaigns. But these same people were some of the early instigators of Vote ER, which is an initiative to put your voting status on your medical record. Because as we all know, doctors have extreme amounts of extra time not doing anything to be concerned about how you vote or if you're registered to vote. But that's part of their thing. So you now have advocates with medical degrees versus medical doctors who occasionally advocate, and that's a really dangerous flip.
Yeah.
And
There's
I
a
don't,
nonprofit foundation that's supposed to be bipartisan, and I got to remember what their
Never.
name is, and that's part of my memory loss thing. It starts with a P, but I've found, I've found evidence that they are not bipartisan. They have more flipped to the left of anything, and they push
Most
things to make changes and decisions that they should have never been made. And of course, federal grant money comes in where they've applied for it and got it to do these things. And we were talking before the show about some evidence that I had found that once we blow that out the water, holy Katie barred the door. That's going to be some. There's going to be riots happening, and I hope so, because it's horrible.
We thought that we had a president that was going to take initiative on especially the vaccine injuries, and it appears that the Secretary Kennedy has made some definitely important steps to reducing our mandates and exposures. I don't know if we're going to get these shots banned.
I don't know why we wouldn't. We've already shown the evidence that we over 65 million injured, over 6 million dead, and that's what's reported. And I know people who have never even reported their injuries or the deaths to theirs. So the number could be way, way, way higher.
It's because you have a significant percentage of this population that is under a major delusion. Mm-hmm. And it's reinforced by their hatred of Donald Trump. And his supporters say, hey, we don't want the shots. Well, they say, well, I'm going to get 5 more shots because
a flu, RSV, and take a whole bunch of Tylenol with it.
And at some point, I'm going to stand over here and I'm not just to stop telling you. I've said the thing. Now I'm going to go live my life while you guys run off the cliff. But
I tried to think that way, but to me, I've been so much of a servant for other people to help people. I don't know if I could ever stop doing that.
It's not about whether or not you stop. I mean, at some point we have to maintain our existence.
Yeah.
If you allow your life and your productivity to be destroyed, well, then they've won twice. And so this is, I'm trying to help all of our people retask, how can we thrive in this new awareness that we have of how the world works.
Yeah.
Well, and it's disheartening.
I want to come back to something though. I mean, there are other vaccine injured nonprofits and organizations and ad hoc groups. Have you reached out to some of the other groups and is there a coordination at all, like a coalition of the groups that have formed?
With me, I've reached out to a few, but I mean, some of them just either have fallen to the wayside, or they're too busy to respond, or it just doesn't. I mean, everybody's got so many irons in the fire, and they don't, some of them just don't have the same view that we have as far as what is needed. We're more hands-on with the people in the group. I'll answer a call at 2:00 in the morning, even though I'm probably narcoleptic as I'll get up, but I will answer a call at 2:00 in the morning when somebody needs it. And a lot of us do that in the group. Some these other foundations, they don't do that. They're not, I mean, they may raise money to help with maybe a medical treatment or this or that or something, but the hands-on part that the people need, or helping somebody find an advocate or find a doctor, or helping them with their medical paper to get it downloaded, other people don't do that. That's what we do. We're extremely hands-on. I'm very hands-on with people. I probably have more medical information on people than I could ever shake a stick at. And it's because people trust me to be able to keep that stuff confidential and be able to help them in the time of need. And that's what we need more of, is more volunteers who are willing to do that. People who are willing to help, coordinate stuff with people, find advocates, find, resources for people, raise money, because so many people who are vaccine injured do not have people to help them. I'm one of them. When I say that the financial devastation, I have lost everything. Not enough money coming in Social Security every month to even pay the bills, or to find out if there's going to be enough groceries on the table. And I worked hard. I worked hard all my life. I worked from the age of 10 with my dad and my father's friend's pawn shop. I've ran a business. I had my own business. And people are like, well, you're lying about what's going on. No, I just wanted to quit my job and go to Social Security and sit here all day and suffer. That's exactly what I wanted to do. No, it's not. Right. I wanted to live my life and be healthy and happy and raise my children and be a good mom. But I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm alive, I'm going to help other people to be able to do that, even if I can't.
Well, I think it's, like I said, I think there are some projects that we as, various groups need to come together on.
Yeah, I agree.
One of those, I don't think there would be any disagreement about a compensation program and the need for that. A research program at National Institutes of Health, for example. And, Jay Bhattacharya, I think, would be very open to that idea. So we know we have some people in place that will at least be receptive to these ideas. But, as a community and as multiple communities, we need a coalition of everyone to come together and push those ideas, the research at NIH, the compensation program at HHS. And then, the other thing that, Kat, I know you and I have talked offline about this, is that, I do think that all of the hospitals are basically liable for failing to report vaccine injury. So, we already have a case in Rochester. We're developing a couple of other cases right now against hospitals for failing to meet their mandatory duty to report the vaccine injury to the VAERS, VAERS program.
Well, we better go after every doctor too, because I've got 30 doctors and not one of them have ever reported it either.
Yeah. Well, it's the institutions generally that have signed what's called a vaccination program participation agreement. And it's that participation agreement that we can hold them liable. And we do have a long statute of limitations on that. So we've got a couple more years in which those lawsuits can be brought. Once we have our intake set up, which you and I have also talked about, I want to make sure that is available and communicated widely, because I do think that the vaccine injured can serve in their own cases to hold hospitals liable for failing to make the VAERS reports. So that's just, so we have the compensation program, the research program, and then the accountability program. I think those are three efforts that I think no matter what group you're part of out there, I think we can all come together on those, that they're necessary to move forward on those.
I agree. And, you look at, we have the victims of the hospital protocols. My stepfather is a victim. He was a victim of the shot. The VA told him to get to Moderna, which caused him massive strokes and heart attacks and dementia. And then he was killed by a hospital in September. So there's so many multi-factored things that are going on. But if we don't step forward and help these people, I mean, they have nothing. We have to be the beacon of light for people.
Yeah, and
They've already so much taken from them.
Yeah, I know. I think the other thing and I don't know, I'd like your opinion on this. I mean, unfortunately, I do think that we're in a situation, the national government is really not providing the leadership yet that I would have liked to seen it provide, especially with the new administration. So I really do think that, we are going to have to generate that leadership between and among ourselves to push the national government to do it. Nobody's coming to save us.
No, they're not.
That's the unfortunate.
I even wrote the White House, and everyone never heard anything back.
Yeah.
Nothing, not one single word. And it's a shame the amount of destruction and devastation and death and injuries that have happened across the world, and that none of our governments in any country have stepped forward to help their people, and they're obligated to do so. And I spoke to 2 people from India and 1 from Pakistan. And when I get on the phone and I'm getting customer service, I find it an opportunity to talk to people about what's happened. And they said no one has ever asked them about their injuries ever. And I was the first person to ever ask them and offer help. And that is in a different country. So if that tells you anything right there, that every government is responsible for what they've done. And their people are suffering greatly. And if people continue to also, our people in the community, right, our loved ones, our friends or whatever, if they continue to keep chastising and making fun of and censoring and badgering or trolling or bullying or whatever, the people that they're supposed to love, that they hung on every word of before the vaccine injury, but now they're considered crazy or tinfoil wearing hat conspiracy theorists or whatever, that they don't believe them, then that is on them, not on us. Because we speak the truth. They're listening to people who don't give a damn about them at all, who don't even know who they are, and they're just making a case, marketing for them to make more money.
Yeah. Well, I do hope that is changing. I mean, we saw that Rasmussen poll that came out, and it seems like almost 30% of the people who got the shot had some kind of bad reaction to it. And certainly, I think it was 5% had a severe reaction or death. So we have a cohort of people. I think everybody at this point knows someone who has a permanent injury or problem that has changed their lives. And I think that hopefully that will start to change the opinions of our friends and neighbors.
Well, when they say I don't know anybody who's vaccine injured, I can throw a rock at somebody and hit them and know that they're vaccine injured. If I can meet 6 people in one day.
Yeah.
Well, that's another problem.
Yeah.
I think people don't recognize that it's a vaccine injury. You've got your turbo cancers coming on. You've got your kidney injury, neurological injuries. They've all ticked up by huge percentages. That is far above the statistical likelihood that any of this is natural. But
I spoke to a spine doctor the other day who says the uptake of cancer in the spine, he says, astronomical. Astronomical. And he believed everything, and he came with evidence. He came with evidence of all the vaccine injury. And I'm like, yes, thank you. You don't know how amazing that this appointment has been, just to hear a doctor say, yes, absolutely. But the institution, one of the neurologists said, oh, but the what do you say it? The the literature says otherwise. And I said, so you just ignore all your patients and listen to somebody you don't know who writes a piece of paper.
Well,
Okay.
and the other thing is the literature does not say otherwise. There's 2,000 or so, at this point, maybe more than that, articles that are documenting the impact of the COVID shots on people around the world. So, there is actually a big and growing body of literature that absolutely shows it. And then you can even look at some strange statistics like the marketing of cancer drugs and how much of an uptick in purchases there have been. I think that increase is like 30% year over year right now in terms of
look at the number of funerals. So contact the funeral homes and ask them about the uptake. Also look at the estates. I used to go to estate sales. Look at the uptake in estate sales of people selling everything. Like everything. I've never seen the uptake in just strange things that show that people are no longer here.
Right.
Well,
I think
some of it's people fleeing, get out of states like California.
Or Canada. And then also look at Canada and the UK. We have people that from there that they can't even speak out or they'll be arrested. Their bank accounts are frozen. They can't do anything. They're being censored. They can't see things. They can't post things. It's terrible. And they're not, of course, they have to wait 6 months to get an MRI or a test or anything just to show what's going on with them. And they have to come over to the US just to get testing. It's terrible. So we want to help those people. We need to help those people.
Yeah, I just learned that 30 people a day are being arrested in Great Britain for, on average, for improper thoughts basically being expressed on Facebook
or silently praying on the sidewalk or it's I have friends over there that are just like they're scared to death to even say anything anymore. I said you cannot stop talking out. That's when that's when the narrative changes. When you quit talking, they have won.
Yeah.
I went over to London a couple years ago and spoke out at the Truth Be Told rally in front of the BBC. Thousands of people out there, thousands. And they all were like, yes, absolutely. I don't want to see that stop. I don't want to see that stop in Canada either. We need to do that here. But people need to keep coming together because once you stop, they have won.
Right. Well, and we've tried to develop through Freedom Counsel a cohort of attorneys. If you've got a First Amendment violation or, an employment issue or whatever, or even a medical or hospital issue, because these protocols keep moving forward in other ways. We do have a cohort of attorneys. We're up to, over 250 attorneys, almost 300 that are willing to consider these cases. Not that they will take it, but at least they're open-minded about it. And we're trying to grow that group through freedomcounsel.org as much as possible. And that's where the synergies come in, I think, between the doctor experts, through the Independent Medical Association, the victims and the attorneys. That synergy, I think, is building and growing and getting stronger.
I agree. We also, Warner, we needed to talk about the medical records that were being falsified by the clinics, where they were putting Moderna shots on our records, and we never had Moderna shots. I'm one of those people. We know several other where we went back to our medical records on our clinic, and there was a Moderna shot on there. And then I saw another one pop up on mine. So they're falsifying the records.
And this goes right down the line of what I love to look at, which is fraud. So we have fraud taking place within, and it's available in your medical records. The key, just like with the VAERS program, the key is to have my goal would be to have a group of 4 or 5 people per hospital that can say, look at my record. It says I got X shot when I never got it. And that's a pure fraud, and they're doing that for a reason. And we have the ability, every individual out there is standing to bring these types of cases. And
we have the form we created in order for people to fill out for their information, so we can check that out. Absolutely.
Are
But I
you?
was in Nevada at the time they said I got the shot.
Well, that's wonderful that you had a nice Nevada trip, and it shows
yeah.
and it exposed the fraud at the hospital.
Yeah.
So, well, I think it's been almost an hour, John.
Yeah, we're getting up there. Kat,
Kat,
is
The
there
only
anything
other,
else you'd like to add?
yeah, Scott Miller is an amazing pediatric PA. He had his license taken by the state of Washington for treating people with ivermectin. He's such a good friend of mine. If you go to Amazon and The Most Dangerous Man in Washington, his book, his autobiography, it is a must read. If you want to know crazy, read this book.
when we had an interview with him here on
Yeah,
TV.
love Scott. I love Scott. He's one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah. Well,
Between him and Dr. Bain, I'd be dead between if it wasn't for those two. But
yeah,
please, go see his book. And leave a review after you read it, please. Let him know how you feel about it. But we had one bad review on there, but it was so trolls.
well,
and he's on Substack now too, which is great. So
it's a fun title, and of course, it refers to Washington, the state of Washington.
Well, that's what the governor said. That's what the governor called him, the most dangerous man in Washington.
Yeah,
that's what he called him.
So
thank you, Governor.
And there have been ongoing issues in the state of Washington with many, many other doctors. Renata Moon is one of them who's had some real problems up there. I think Ryan Cole's had problems as well in the state of Washington. So
they allowed people, physicians and other medical people who molested and sexually assaulted their patients to retain their license. So if that doesn't tell you how screwed up the state of Washington is, I don't know what is.
Yeah, they're literally off the hook. So
I had several others contact me after we covered Cole and Scott Miller's cases. It's I don't know what happened up there. We should check to see if a hellmouth opened up and has released demons from hell, because honestly, the people up there have lost their minds.
Well, Antifa showed up at his rally and pulled the gun out and shot through the practice.
Unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's nuts up there. But
well, it goes back to that thing where something happened, that medicine became politicized, and now you can't even take tonic water out without people thinking it's a Trump thing, and you're obviously supporting Trump.
Tonic water.
I mean, that's basically what hydroxychloroquine is derived from. So,
is it really?
So we're dealing. Go watch. There's a great movie out there by, I think it was Mickey Willis or somebody like that. Really sexy guy, called Epidemic of Fraud. You should go check it out.
John's making fun. It's his movie. Yes, it all comes back from the quinine, and then that's why they have quinine. The gin and tonic was to.
So we were always told quinine gave you cancer and things. So is that the opposite of that completely?
Probably, yeah.
I love tonic water. That with lime, I will drink it all day long as opposed to a Coke. I sure will.
Tonic water has quinine in it, which is derived from cinchona bark, which was the first medical compound ever used to treat an infectious disease.
Well, I will buy more now.
You don't get much. The FDA kind of targeted quinine, especially quantities in tonic water. So the amount of tonic water that you'd have to drink to get a therapeutic dose at this point would be gargantuan. And so they've sort of negated the benefit of it in a drink, other than just.
But the gin and tonic became a drink. I think it was the British in India. Is that correct?
Yep, correct.
Precisely because of the malaria threat, and so the gin and tonic at the end of the day would both relax you and help fight off the effects of malaria.
I started getting the Farmer's Almanac again to start reading that, just to see about old remedies and things like that.
And that's a really strange situation that we're in, because the people programming our AI and our databases are apparently making political decisions under the guise of medicine when they decide what to include and what not to include. So literally, Grandpa's old book collection may be the best source for information. We may have to start using libraries again.
Mm-hmm. I went to an estate sale and there were a bunch of medical books. I bought every one of them that were there. Every one of them.
You know, it's shocking what you find when you look at history and see the correlations today. I mean, the restriction of access to quinine was a tactic of biological warfare that Abraham Lincoln employed against the southern states. John Wilkes Booth was a smuggler of quinine. So when you had doctors trying to get patients their quinine, they had something in common with an assassin from history. It's pretty crazy.
I did find out one interesting thing. I'm doing my ancestry is that I'm related to Sir John Harrington, who invented the toilet.
The toilet?
The toilet.
And his name was John?
John. Yep.
Now you know.
Now you know.
Well, on that note, I think we've hit an all-time high here, so we should wrap it up. Thank you both for your time today. And Kat, we will make sure everybody follows you on Twitter, and please keep up the good work, and I wish you the best of health.
Kat, yes. What's your Twitter handle, Kat?
Kat Parker Photo, I believe.
Kat Parker.
If you go to poppleme.co/Kat Parker Photo, it has all of my social media links, all of my interviews, our foundation, all of our resources and things like that. So poppleme.co/Kat Parker Photo.
All
right.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us this afternoon.
Thanks, guys. I love y'all to death. Y'all are such amazing advocates and professionals, and without y'all, we would be lost. So thank you for every moment of the day for what you do. It is greatly appreciated.
All right. With that, I'll let you guys go. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Thank you, guys.
I believe in the Constitution. I believe that one case, the right case, can change the world. If you believe this too, Freedom Counsel is for you. Pursuing a major case can be overwhelming, but we provide a community of practice so that you have the resources available to support your case. My name is Warner Mendenhall, and we are Freedom Counsel. Join Freedom Counsel today. freedomcounsel.org.